Okay, Jobs Friday. Yes, they get all excited on CNBC for Jobs Friday. And there was the lead up this week in regards to the jobs report and what it was going to mean. And the narrative, the conventional wisdom, what they were telling you was that the jobs report can't be too strong. If the jobs report is too strong, that's going to be terrible for the stock market. The old good news is bad news. Do you understand that that's what they actually have been telling people for, she says, as long as I've been in this business? And listen, when I was a kid, I mean, I would question it in my mind. I said, this doesn't make any sense. But again, what the hell do I know? I'm just a kid. Trust your gut, trust your instincts, be a critical thinker. Bad news is never good news. Good news is not bad news. It is what it is. I was thinking about it today, put my thoughts together for the podcast. And again, how my mind works, I sub-reference pop culture. And as you know, will be aware, I'm a big Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. I love all those movies from the 80s. And one that I've actually played bits from it on the radio show from time to time. It was actually a Stephen King short story, Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was Arnold, at the end, he's got to get the truth out about what's really going on in the country. And he gets it out over the satellite. Killian is lying to you. All these people are lying to you. I don't think the members of the FERD are necessarily lying, but they're not telling you the truth. What do I mean by this? Well, jobs report. Okay. Unemployment ticked up, yet we still had 315,000 jobs. Nice to see that more people are coming back into the labor force. One of the things I've tried to explain, great thing about the private sector. One of the great things about the private sector is the private sector can adjust. It always does. If you don't adjust, you're eliminated. The old, either you get it right or you get eliminated. Gordon Gekko, Teldar paper speech, right? Either you get it right or you get eliminated. Either you make the necessary adjustments to the terrain or you're going to go by the wayside. Tight labor market, wages going up. What should I do? How do I go about handling this? You do what's necessary. Small businesses, medium-sized, big, they have the ability to understand this and do this. Government does not. Government doesn't do this. Now, how am I going to tie this all together with jobs report, economy, Federal Reserve, all this crap? Lady that I've talked about often here on the program, I have an enormous deal of respect for, Judy Shelton. Judy Shelton was supposed to be on the Federal Reserve, but she got rejected. She got rejected because she doesn't go along with all of the people that are there. She thinks differently. God forbid. God forbid. And quite frankly, you want to be successful. No, that's not true. That's not true. You can be a conformist, go to an Ivy League and get a job in government, and you're going to be enormously successful. I mean, for crying out loud, look at the Bidens. But anyway, neither here nor there. The old Apple computer think different ads. I love those things. Love those. A brilliant ad. Well, Judy Shelton thinks differently. And they could not have someone that is not going along with all the other economists that have never had a real job in their entire lives. Couldn't have her on. She had a piece today in the Wall Street Journal, which can basically, I was thrilled. Whenever we talk about things here on the program, and then there's people that you have an enormous deal of respect for. They end up putting out a comment. They end up saying the same thing again. I was thrilled. Her article today, Biden and Powell are at odds on inflation. If you were expecting Jerome Powell to unveil an elegant new intellectual framework for monetary policy at Jackson Hole, Well, the Federal Reserve Chairman's speech on the need for forceful and rapid steps to moderate demand set you straight. But the Fed's determination to pummel growth will only make matters worse, so long as misguided fiscal policies engorge the money supply. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. What have we been saying? I mean, think about it, people. Do you honestly just take a couple steps back? They're telling you that the Fed needs to wreck the economy. You have all these money men. The Fed needs to deal with inflation. We need a recession. Needs to wreck the economy. What? You mean we in order to save the village, we need to destroy it? You see how stupid that is? You take a couple steps back. Oh, I know they got degrees at Harvard and Yale. Shut up. Think. Use your head. Use your head. Yeah. Did all of the money printing and dropping it over the country make matters worse? Was it inflationary? Sure. Why was it inflationary? Think about it. Let's just get your arms up. Why was it inflationary? It was money that wasn't put to any productive use. Wasn't put to any productive use. You give capital in the hands of the right people. They're going to build and they're going to create with it. Let me give you an example. Let's look at Apple. I don't even know off the top of my head what their cash position is right now. The amount of cash that they have. The amount of cash that they have that's just sitting collecting interest at this point in time. Well, why don't they go out and spend it? Well, they would if they found a place where they wanted it to go, right? If it was smart to spend the money on something or invest somewhere, they're going to go ahead and they're going to do that. Now, if the government, I don't care if it's an elephant or donkey, if they were running Apple Computer, Apple Computer would no longer have a cash position. All of that money would be spent. All of it. Get rid of it all. That's people. This is why you want to deal with inflation. Really want to deal with inflation. You freaking cut government spending. You cut government spending. You cut government programs. You cut the waste. It's not we, the people here in the real world that run businesses that are causing inflation. We don't like to lose money. We're smart with our money because it's our money. You see, the people in government, they don't give a shit. It's not their money. They just spend haphazardly. And then when they run out of it, well, we'll raise the debt ceiling. And then guess what? We'll borrow more money. We'll go ahead and borrow more money. And then the Fed will monetize that to keep the rates down and rinse and repeat. It doesn't have to be this way. Everything that you have been told over the years, I'm telling you, when it comes to the business cycle, all of this crap is BS. It is. This is utter bullshit. Then you gotta wreck the economy. You need to have something. We gotta do that. It's the only way we're gonna deal with inflation. No. You want to deal with inflation? Gee, I don't know. You don't do a student loan handout. Inflation Reduction Act, that's just more spending, for crying out loud. Doesn't work. You know, like I said, the private sector has a way of dealing with misappropriated funds. Companies go under. We're watching that right now. All these high-flying SPAC tech companies that, quite frankly, they're not going to make it. They go away. You see, in the world of government, the pets.com, I'll use some .com references. The pets.com and the CD Nows of the world would still be open with money being funneled by what? Your tax dollars going into it. It doesn't make any sense. Think of this stuff in a different way, okay? Yeah, transfer payments. What do we do during COVID? Think about the transfer payments. Think about the child tax credit, the stimulus checks. That was spent on what? What? How many, again, I'm going to pick on senior citizens. How many senior citizens working on fixed income? How many of them got they just got free money? They got free. My mother-in-law got a check. My mother got a check. Their financial situation didn't change during COVID, but hey, all of a sudden they got government money that they went out and spent. It's again, what did you think was going to happen? You want to deal with inflation? Yeah, you have to deal with obviously ridiculous regulation, but you have to deal with government spending. And the reality is they're not going to do that. Back to Judy Shelton's piece here. Welcome to the era of good cop, bad cop tactics from major government institutions. Fiscal and monetary policy are now working at odds to fight inflation. The Fed could crush demand by raising interest rates to stratospheric levels, only to have a spendthrift White House and complicit Congress pump up consumer prices through measures that expand spending power. Cash payments, subsidies, rebates, student loan forgiveness. The Biden administration's intellectual inconsistency borders on cynicism. The cost of student loan forgiveness programs will wipe out any projected deficit reduction from the Inflation Reduction Act. But while the fiscal authorities congratulate themselves on the spending blowout, Mr. Powell warns of a tough road ahead. He talks about pain ahead. Pain ahead, not for pain for the people in Washington, D.C. No pain for them. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth. That's what Powell said last Friday. Moreover, there will very likely be some softening of the labor market conditions, while higher interest rates, slower growth, softer labor market conditions will bring down inflation. They will also bring some pain to households and businesses. These are unfortunate costs of reducing inflation. Bullshit. No one doubts the part about pain, but does the Fed chairman believe? Does the Fed chairman believe that slower growth and higher unemployment will drive inflation from the economy? Because again, that's the conventional wisdom. That's the narrative. That's the bullshit that's being pushed all the time by the powers that be. I mean, I want you to think about it for a second, because you probably believe it too, because you've been hearing it your entire life. Right? The lie becomes the truth. They keep saying the same thing over and over. Well, it must be true. All these people are saying it. Really? What was that line from Men in Black where was Tommy Lee Jones' character was saying, 500 years ago, people believed this, the earth was flat. Again, yeah. Conventional wisdom is poison. Use your head. Think differently. You explain to me. You think that that's going to benefit the economy? How does slowing the economy and shuttering businesses, how does that help with supply? You understand? There's two sides to the equation, and it's this equilibrium here. There's supply and demand. Anyway, she goes in her article here, she talks about the attitude that Powell took at their 2020 Jackson Hole speech, and also a similar tone in 2021. A successful monetary policy, she writes, requires intellectual consistency and credibility within the larger context of political reality. The Fed tends to take its own academic models too seriously before casting them aside under the pressure of distressing data and embracing seat-of-the-pants reasoning. So what are we supposed to understand about the Fed's approach to monetary policy as conveyed by Mr. Powell's latest remarks? Economic growth is inflationary? You want to believe economic growth is bad, okay? Do you honestly think that that's the case? You think that economic growth is bad? Low unemployment, full unemployment is bad? Again, go back to Powell in 2020. Go back to that point in time. Think about the difference when we had full unemployment in this country at that point in time. Their attitude was very, very different. Households and businesses, we need to be punished because the a-holes, well, I guess we should. It's our own damn fault. It's our fault. We're the ones that put these people in the power. We're the ones that put Lindsey Graham into the Senate. We're the ones that put Mitch McConnell into the Senate. We're the ones that put Joe Biden into the White House. We're the ones that put Chuck Schumer in the Senate. We're the ones that put Nancy Pelosi in the House. Go right on down the line, people. Okay? So, again, we made our bed. We have to lie in it. Unless we start using our head and we change our ways. Perhaps a major impediment to rational thinking among Fed officials is the egocentric predicament. They have a propensity to assume that interest rates are all that matter. They ignore the benefits of pro-growth policies, low taxes, and less regulation. Echo chamber, watchdog on Wall Street, echo chamber alert. Yeah. Better trade, better energy policies, echo, 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 and refuse to acknowledge that a business-friendly environment is conducive to greater output. You believe that they wouldn't let, they rejected this? Both Democrats and Republicans rejected her for the Fed. Why? Because she's dangerous. She's dangerous. She's honest. She's truthful. She makes sense. Oh, no, we can't have somebody that's going to actually speak the truth. Greater output should be the goal when inflation is largely driven by lack of supply. When asked when fiscal incentives or federal budget decisions will undermine their monetary policy objectives, Fed officials are apt. What do? They sidestep the question. That's the problem. There's no point relying on interest rates to control the money supply when government spending continues to exacerbate inflationary pressures. Are you starting to see things, people, the way that we see them? Am I getting through? I got a lot of left-wing lunatics that listen to this thing and like to send me all sorts of nasty messages. They keep listening. I don't respond to nasty messages. You want to debate me? Debate me. Debate me. Debate me. Oh, you mean to tell me that just throwing money around works? Where? How? Stimulus payments and income support programs put money directly into bank accounts. Meanwhile, the Fed's tools for fighting inflation are geared to managing the narrow component of the money supply over which the central bank exerts control. By paying interest to commercial banks and money market funds on deposits, some $3.3 trillion in reserve balances and $2.5 trillion in reverse repurchase agreements, the Fed keeps huge volumes of cash out of the economy. It would be an act of intellectual courage if the Fed chairman would explain these particulars of monetary policy, which deserve more public scrutiny. And it would be cathartic to acknowledge the senselessness of monetary discipline in the face of fiscal recklessness. Sound money and sound finances must go hand in hand for the economy to regain a solid footing. God bless you, Judy Shelton. Again, will they invite Judy Shelton on the programs? Well, it's a different point of view. No, it's central planners and big government people. And I'm sorry to all of you elephant worshipers out there. Most of them are just as bad. They're just as bad. They want their spending or they want their big government programs as well. And it's just what our country has gotten to this point. This is all this power right there, Washington, D.C. We made it worse. Republicans did it after post 9/11 Patriot Act, expanding all these government agencies, more hires, more nonsense, more bureaucrats, more waste. Imagine if government programs went out of business like bad businesses do. I just thought of something. Again, the things that pop into my head at points in time, mental pictures. There was a shopping mall. I don't even know if it's there. It's back in my hometown up there. And I grew up in Guildland, but this is in Albany, New York. It was a Northway Mall. Northway Mall was right across from Colony Center. And it was I had to go back to the 90s. I remember last time I was at that place, I don't even know if it still exists, was in the 1990s. And I remember going in there. I don't know why I had to go in there. Maybe it was a Marshall's there. Maybe I had to buy luggage or something like that. I can't recall. But I remember walking in the place and they had a store in there that sold nothing but trolls. Yeah, trolls, those little doll things with the hair that came way up. I kid you not. Kid you not. How do you think that idea worked out? Again, if the troll store was a part of the government, it would still be around. It wouldn't die. You see, what frustrates me, and I talk about this all the time, saddest thing in the world, wasted talent, potential. Do you know how wealthy we could be? Do you have any idea how wealthy we could be as a nation? Any idea? The type of natural resources. So we are a wealthy nation, but I mean, if you cut government down to size, you understand what we're capable of here in this country? But no, it's to continue to lie to you because the elites, they want to run the show and they want their money and they want their spending. If you think the Fed could fix it, they can't. They can't. And you're being lied to. Okay? Go back to Schwarzenegger. Killian is lying to you. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to call it a day. All right, I'm going to drop the mic moments. It was that type of a podcast. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Show this weekend as well. We'll see you.